Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen.
Can I please have your attention?
Now showtime. Are you ready? Are you ready for start time?
Let's find out. Ready? Let's go.
What's up, Facebook Live? I am at it again. It's DJ R.O.B. Presents Taking It Back. And like I always say with my guests, we go way back like an 8-track in a Cadillac with the seats back. And here's another one. You guys might know him from his acting. You might know him from his dancing. But you definitely know him from his hit songs in the early 90s. One of the first Latin hip-hop rappers, Gerardo, Rico Suave, Mejia is in the house, virtually, of course. But first, thanks for showing up. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's say what's up to Gerardo, Rico Suave, Mejia.
What's going on, Rob? How are you, bro?
Thank you for showing up. I know you're busy, and we're going to talk about how busy you are. You know, the church stuff, and you guys ain't going to believe this, but he's also known as Pastor G. But because it's called Taking It Back, we're going to go back to the beginning, and then we're going to end up there. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So, anything you want to say before we get started?
No, man, I'm excited, bro. I'm excited. We're gonna go back right now. We're really taking it back. There's a lot to
we're
say.
taking it back. So let's see. First, I want to talk about the beginning.
Okay.
Born in Ecuador.
Yes.
You moved to California in the late 60s. You're 12 years old, or early 70s. You moved to California.
Yes.
Must have been 78.
Yeah. We go to we moved 76. We came to Glendale. My dad graduated as an accountant, and my uncles had in Glendale they had offices over there, and they gave an opportunity to come over here. So we started coming, and that's where the beginning was, man. Glendale, California. Then years later, he found a spot more into more inland, where I lived most of my life, which is Walnut, at the Diamond Bar area, more like towards Orange County over there.
I remember being at your house in Diamond Bar. We were recording that album, Derumbe. And
that's right.
Whenever we weren't doing that, we were watching the OJ case on your TV. We were glued to that OJ Simpson case. You remember that?
That's right. That's
so
right. I think everybody in life,
in California, especially,
was with that. That was the beginning.
You were like, wait a minute, I don't want to leave yet. The case is on right now. I was like, come on, we got to go to the studio.
Bro, you're gonna get mad at me now because I got pictures with OJ, and Weird Al Yankovic at a club. Remember that?
I remember those pictures. When that happened, you pulled them out and said, "Ooh, these might be worth money."
That's right.
So back to childhood and junior high and high school. I read one of your interviews or saw one of your interviews where a popping battle happened at your school and you were mesmerized and you said, "Oh, I'm into this." That's the same thing with me. When I first saw the robot on Soul Train and people popping and locking on Soul Train, that's what I want to do. So that's what got you into it?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't excel much in school, like in sports. I was not the sports guy, you know. Everybody thought because I was Latin, you know, I was going to be good in soccer, and I was terrible. Terrible in basketball, even though we played a lot, you know, we liked to play ball, but was not a good ball player, was not a good football player. And when I saw that, I was like, man, this is maybe something that I could excel in. And bro, I practiced 3 hours a day, every day, brought friends over. They came out. I lived right Walnut was right on the verge of hitting Pomona. And in Pomona, there was a big popping resurgence going on right now at that moment. There was a lot of poppers coming over there, the Groovatrons. I don't know if you remember Stokes and Boardman, all those guys over there. So, you know, I heard about that. It was like, you know, when you were a kid, it was like people were like superheroes. Like you hear about Poppin' Taco, you're like, dang, one day I'm gonna run into Poppin' Taco. You would hear about Skeeter Rabbit, you know, you would hear about all these names, and you know, basically, man, I got to live like my dream, going out there and popping with and popping against a lot of the heroes in that dance.
And probably helped you because you were probably like that behind the scenes laid back guy, but we start popping, which gets you comfortable to going out in public. And then you start doing auditions, and sometimes, even if the audition doesn't have anything to do with popping, you throw that in there and they say, oh, there's an extra skill. This guy's got an extra skill. He's outgoing, and that helps your character come out and stuff like that, which transitions you right into doing auditions and doing movies and all that.
Yeah, it gets you really out of in a comfortable zone. Like, I mean, you dance against people, you're going, outside of a basketball game, people get together, they throw down a beatbox, and there you are. You don't care who's watching. You're into the battle. You're into the thing. So all that, being shy and all that went out the window right after that.
Okay. So then you say, wait a minute, I want to start going out and getting some parts. Now, were you in dancer mode? Let's see, in order. I don't know if people know this, but Dance Fever was a huge show, a big dance contest show. Danny Terrio was the host. And you and your boy get on there. This is before any movies, right?
Yeah, this was. Yeah.
And you guys win that competition.
Yes, sir.
50 grand and a couple cars or something like that?
Yeah, it was. I don't know if you remember. I don't think they have them anymore. The Isuzu Impulse.
That's what it
the
was?
car that we won. Yeah, it was. That's the car that we won.
You won it and you sold it the next day. No.
No, actually, a friend of mine crashed it. I didn't get to enjoy it so much. Yeah, I let a friend of mine borrow it one day. I just destroyed it, but that's another story. I mean, that was the beginning of everything for me. Like, I remember just after winning that moment of, like, I knew it was about to be on TV because it was pre-recorded, so it wasn't like it came out that day. I had to wait around 3 months and be.
You couldn't
quiet.
tell nobody?
No, without telling anybody.
Right.
But I remember that night after the party. Check this, Rob. This is funny, man, because they took me out. Danny Terry took me out to a party, and that's the first day I ran into Rick James. Right?
Uh-oh.
And I saw Rick James surrounded by all these girls. I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to do that. I want to do music. I want to be the guy. And these things made me, want to succeed more and more. Seeing what fame can do. I bit, man. I bit sinking. What do you call the hook and sinker? I bit into it, and that was the beginning of my whole thing. Dance Fever was it.
So that year of Dance Fever, how old were you?
I was like 2. I think I was 2021. Yeah.
And so did you go, after you won the contest, you had a little notoriety, did you get an agent and start doing auditions, or what happened?
I didn't go after an agent. I was at I always went out to clubs. Rob, you know that, every time you go out to clubs, you run into somebody knows somebody. And I was at this club dancing, and this guy approached me, and he asked me if I would do this movie. And I was like, well, what kind of dance do you want in the movie? It's not a dance. You need to act. And of course I lied. I told him I was an actor. And but the guy was this guy named Jack Jones, who was Carol Jones' son, and they had just casted the Karate Kid, right? And they're actually the ones that casted. Put this on there too, is that they casted the original Rocky. So Carol Jones, so they had faith in me, and they sent me out on they brought me in for this audition for a movie called Winners Take All, which was like a motorcycle movie about motorcycle racing. And bro, I got the role, and I went, 3 weeks later, I was in Dallas filming this movie where I was the bad guy in it. And while I was doing that movie, the same people were doing a movie called Boy Meets Girl, which actually became Can't Buy Me Love.
So I thought Can't Buy Me Love was the first movie, but you're saying that other one, was it like a B movie and went straight to DVD, or was it in the theaters, the first one?
It was in the theaters for about 2 days.
But this one was popular. This Can't Buy Me Love, everybody saw that one.
Oh no, Can't Buy Me Love Can't Buy Me Love is held on. It's one of those
80s
those
iconic.
Exactly. It has held down well. People still to this day love it. I can tell you that as far as residuals, it's the movie that still sends residuals out to me.
That's crazy.
So, they always use it. They're always trying to stream it, but I can tell you something. Can't Buy Me Love was the funnest movie I ever made. Like, it was fun.
Yeah, it looks like it was probably fun.
Yeah, we went to we filmed it in Tucson, Arizona, and I became friends with my guys, and I wasn't too friends with Patrick because Patrick Dempsey was very much of a method actor, so he wanted to hang with the geek guys in the movie. But then when it was time to be cool, he would hang out with us for a little bit, and we were cool.
And then, well, I don't know about and then, but the movie that everybody tripped out when we knew you through the street talk and the dancing ranks and getting into acting, but we still knew you as a dancer. I had friends in LA, we had mutual friends, and then I found out you got casted in this movie, Colors.
Yeah.
Boy, that was a trip.
Yeah, that was.
How did that happen?
Well, I was filming Can't Buy Me Love, and they sent me a script about Colors, about this new movie that Sean Penn was in, blah blah, right? So what I did was, I was never, you know me, I wasn't a gang member or nothing like that, or
you wasn't in the 2-1.
It was the 2-1, bro. And there was this character, this gang member I knew from Pomona named Trouble, and I just basically everything he did I put in that movie, like the he taking himself so serious about his homies and loving that. I put that into that role. So when I went into the audition to see Dennis Hopper, I told my agent not to even send my 8x10. I said it's gonna, my 8x10. I think you're showing it right now.
Yeah.
It's I'm trying to be good looking. And so I said no. I said don't send nothing. Just let them think that I'm coming from the street. And I just, I went in with a hairnet and bro, I went back for another for a callback, and like 3 days later, I got a call that I got the movie. So it was a pretty awesome time of my life because I was just steady working, in and out of movies.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that was a fun.
Then you get into the dancing and the rapping and doing little showcases. You got a little notoriety with the movie, so now I can take the music career, bring it out.
Yeah,
and
it was.
Go ahead.
I mean, I was acting pretty steadily. But I was doing the same role over and over again. I don't know if you ever saw a 21 Jump Street episode where I played Johnny Depp's nemesis.
Mm-hmm.
I did other movies where I was, the druggie
typecasting, the gangster
so
Mexican.
I was like, man, I said, if there are any other roles. The great thing about Can't Buy Me Love was Can't Buy Me Love. My role was for a white kid. I mean, my name was Ricky List. My last name, they should have changed it to Gomez or something, but I knew that there was opportunities where I could try to just say, look, I'm a good actor, regardless of what it is, But the good thing about Can't Buy Me Love was that it was in Tucson, Arizona, and the director's like, man, there's all these kids that are Latin. There's no way it can't, that we don't have a Latin kid, and I got the role. But with after a while, Hollywood got a little, I was just, I don't want to say upset, just like, I was like, oh, man, I played that role already. I played that role already. And, at that moment, I used, I kept on going out to clubs, Rob. You knew that I was in clubs all the time. So I'm going to
read this to you, and you tell me if you remember this invite. You and a guest are cordially invited to attend a private party featuring the dance expertise and rap music of Gerardo Mejia, Sunday evening, June 4th. I don't know the year, at Spice, Hollywood Boulevard. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
And is this one of the first times you're like showcasing and trying to get some like agents there or something to get the music career going?
At that moment, it was funny because the producer that I had, his name was Fabian Cook, and he had he was like a Rastafarian guy, and he had like a whole band for me. I had it was crazy. It looked crazy because it was me, the dancers, the girls, my boys, and we're doing this, and then we had a Rasta band behind us, doing the. But it was like, I think more than anything, people came over to see was like odd. It was like, what is he trying to do, kind of thing. But that led to another person seeing me there. They connected me with a guy named Michael Cimbello, who had just he was famous for doing the soundtrack for Flashdance. Remember the song
Yeah,
Maniac?
yeah. Michael Sembello, yeah.
That was Michael. So I met Michael, and Michael introduced me to Peter Lopez, and then Peter Lopez became my lawyer, and then Peter Lopez is the one that took me to see Jimmy Iovine,
But
who was just starting.
yeah, but everybody believes and thinks Rico Suave, the single, was your first record, but it wasn't. You did it on your own, just like most rappers did, pressed their own record, distributed their own record, and tried to get a deal that way. And so people don't know that. There's your first record, Latin
That's right.
Till I Die, that you pressed up
right.
yourself, correct?
Yep, exactly. In those days, like artists were doing their own vinyl, and I would bet Rob, I would basically, since I knew all the DJs at the club, I would basically take that vinyl and be like, bro, put it on. I'd be like, bro, do me a favor, put it on, and you in those days there was no iPhone or nothing where you could promote yourself and put music out, and it wasn't like that. You had to hustle.
But that's the vehicle to get you the deal. You make some noise on your own, then it's a no-brainer for a label.
Yeah.
And for all you guys out there, Interscope was one of the biggest labels in the 90s. And Gerardo became the first artist signed to that label.
Yeah.
Now that had to be a crazy experience.
That was super crazy. There was only, it was funny. I was talking to my publicist a couple of days ago, as a matter of fact. And we were laughing because when Interscope started, it was just 6 people that worked there. It was Ted, Jimmy, Ted Fields, Jimmy Iovine, Lori Earl was a publicist, Michael Papali was doing the marketing, and do you remember Mark Benish?
Well, Mark Benish was my go-to guy. I think I either met him through Hugo, which we'll get into Hugo stories later, or through you, because I did the Marky Mark remix of good. Marky Mark was probably the second or third artist on that label?
Maybe I think it was 5th. I think it's 5th. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But Mark Benish is the guy who I talked to because I was sending him all my demos because I was in the studio here producing street artists and rappers and dance music. Yeah. I'd send him stuff all the time. A couple of times some things got close, but he said, I want you to do the Marky Mark Good Vibration remix. So Mark was my go-to guy over there. But I did meet Jimmy and Ted Field back in the early days. And then working with you, I met those guys again.
Yeah.
But then you get the deal. And
I got the
put
deal,
out the album.
We got
so this
the deal,
is the first official album, Morritwo, which has the Rico Suave song on there, right?
Yes, sir.
And did you also put Latin Till I Die on this album, since you already had a single?
Yeah, I did. Which was Oye Como Va. Really, it was called Latin Till I Die, but since I used a sample of Carlos, the actual Tito Puente song that Carlos Santana did,
right?
Oye Como Va. Yeah, we had to put it on there also. Yeah, but it's there.
And then it blows up.
Yes, sir.
You didn't know Rico Suave was gonna blow up between the Arsenio doing his thing and the Club MTV and the MTV playing the videos. Yeah. Same thing kind of happened when I was doing my stuff with Dino. You put a song out, you don't know what's gonna happen. Next thing you know, they call you, hey, the radio's playing it. You got to do shows, and you go, wait, I don't have a show. I need dancers. I need to do so. That's the next move, right?
Yeah. When I signed in there, they knew that that I was a dancer. They knew that I was a street dancer. So right away from the get-go, before we went on the road or anything, I was able to prepare for shows. And the one thing that that I'm proud of to this day is, our show from beginning to the end, it was fun and it was choreography. It wasn't just improvising out there. We had moments of it wasn't just me going out there with a microphone. It was it was pretty staged.
And you knew all those dancers.
I grew up with them. Hugo was a friend of mine way before Coco. He was from Anaheim, so we got together, and I was like, man, guys, I got this opportunity. You guys want to come in? I mean, it was at that moment, Rob, nobody had hit it big or nothing like that. We were just like, let's get together. They were like, hey, if we got to dance, we got to dance. I said, we even get paid. They were like, what? I said, yeah, we're gonna get paid for rehearsal for this and that. And then we brought in Kevin, who was doing the choreography for us a lot, and
Hmm.
we were ready, man. Because Jimmy knew since the song was the video had been picked up by MTV, and they had me on high rotation. He knew that the MTV tour they were gonna take me, so
Yeah.
they were gonna ask me to go. So I was getting ready, man, right before it. So I was prepared for it.
And they brought you whenever you perform on those MTV Spring Breaks. That's a
Oh yeah,
huge promo. I
that
remember
was
seeing
huge.
that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was in Daytona. Man, those were some wild days, bro. They were fun. Yeah, it was like at that point it started getting a little crazy because at that point is I I couldn't just walk around anymore. It was like I had to as bad as it seems, man. I had to hire a couple bodyguards just to walk around and stuff like that because I couldn't get from place to place. It got pretty hectic.
Well, you weren't just the Joe Schmo rapper with the cross colors. I mean, you made this look with the hair and the bandana and the jacket and the jeans. It
Yeah.
was an iconic look that you created. You couldn't go anywhere. Everybody knew who you were immediately because no one else was doing that. You know,
Yeah, I
that
mean,
was
for a
the
while it was funny because that became pretty popular. Was the bandana? People would buy the hats with the
built-in bandana.
ponytail back, yeah, built in ponytail in the back. But I remember. I don't know if you remember those. In those days, you had the hat with the metal. Remember, there was like a metal
Yeah,
thing.
I remember Hardware made one. A company
Yeah,
called Hardware made one, and they just had the big metal plate, and usually maybe there were some words on it or something.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And I used to wear one that said King on it. I thought I was all that, bro. I was like, oh man, this is mine. And same thing with leather jacket, no shirt. Like in every other picture that you have there, I think I have a shirt on.
Hmm.
My whole thing was like, I like to be in shape, and the popping, the dancing, it kept me in shape.
That's right. And then do you know this is the second album, Dose, but that first album, Mo Ritmo, what did it do? Did it do gold? Did it the
It
single
did.
did gold? And the
I
album do
think.
gold?
I think now it's different. I think back then the single sold 800,000 copies,
Which is more
but
than
then
gold.
yeah, yeah, and then but then after that it all became more. I was also like if you added it up, like I went platinum in Mexico and all the other countries. I think I sold like for that album 1.6.
Hmm.
And then but at the single I don't even know where it's at now. It might be it might be a lot more. I have not
It
really
was
checked into.
the Record Association of America who distributed the plaques or made the accolades. They didn't sometimes include the international thing. So if it went gold
Yeah,
in America, that was one thing. But if you counted it all, you're
yeah,
definitely platinum, you know?
yeah, definitely, yeah, yeah, totally,
And they give you your second album at Interscope, which is
yeah,
Dose. So I remember
yeah,
the first album. I was a DJ, so of course I know the first album. And I remember the second album, and I always thought, rap wise, you were
yeah.
way better on the Dose album. The production was way better. The whole concept of the album was way better. But do you believe that Interscope didn't put as much effort in this, or they just thought, okay, he blew up the first time, we don't have to push this one, it's going to take off on its own, which is not true with any record label. You need to get it out there, you need to market it. Do you think that
Yeah.
kind of happened on the second album, or what
I
went
think it
on
was
with
a
this one?
combination of a lot of things. I was I mean, if you were close to me, then a lot of stuff started going into my ego. Just I couldn't you couldn't stand me too much. Put it that way. It's like I was hard to deal with for one. So number two, at that moment, the era of pop rap started dying. MC Hammer couldn't do it again. Vanilla Ice couldn't do it again. Rico Suave couldn't do it again. And then at that moment was the resurgence of uh, like underground hip hop, you know.
Mm,
So we became a thing of the past. So
yeah, I
I
mean,
was
look,
like,
that's 92. Ooh, 92, 93 is when your NWAs and the hood rap and the gangster rap, and
yeah,
that's a tough thing to compete
yeah, it
with.
was it was tough. I remember I had to. You're gonna laugh at this. This is when I kind of barely met my wife now.
Hmm.
We went out on a date, and it was the LA Music Awards. and I was nominated for best like
Latin
single of
or
the year,
pop
best
record.
no best single, the best rap single of the year,
Mm-hmm.
and I was going against NWA, bro,
Mm-mm.
and all these other, and I won, right? And I hear the crowd like just upset, like I was like, man, I said, at that moment in my time, I thought, bro, this is not good for me anymore because it was like I was done. I was done. People's eyes had gone from me to the next. So I think that was my defining moment. Going like, oh, I better start thinking about do something different.
Well, you always reinvent yourself. That's what this whole show is about. We're going to move to the future, to the present, whatever you want to call it. But you reinvented yourself 1,000 times. But this is the era where I met you with our mutual friend, Hugo.
That's right.
So I knew Hugo with Sugar Pop and Steve, which was my production partner for a while. And he said he was, dancing with you and he was coming to Vegas. And you guys came to one of our parties. We did a New Year's Eve party in 1991.
Yes.
And he brought you to the New Year's Eve party. And that's when we met and we kind of hit it off because I was popping and I was into music and I made you laugh because I was just this crazy joker. And we ended up hitting off. And so our mutual friend, Hugo, is how we met. And if it wasn't for him, I mean, great friend. I mean, I went to his wedding. He went to my wedding. We don't talk on a everyday basis, but when we do talk, it could be a year later, it could be 3 months later, we pick up right where we left off. And I don't know when the last time you talked to him is.
Oh, recently he sent me something. He sent me an old caricature of me. I don't know if you remember.
What are you talking
There
about?
you go, bro. There it is. Yeah. This
Hugo
guy
was
used to-
known for if we were at a club hanging out, talking to girls or dancing or getting a popping battle going at the clubs, he'd sit there on a napkin or a piece of paper and he'd draw pictures of us. And he did it to make fun of us, but he did it to make us laugh. And he was great at that.
Yeah.
And he'd send them to us and remind us about it. That was crazy.
That was funny. He sent me not too long ago some he had done something in a little piece of paper, and it had my chin, and the chin went to another paper said to be continued.
Oh my gosh. That's what the characters do. They exaggerate one little thing,
Yeah.
Used
it
to
was
call my
funny.
fingernails potato chips. But so guess
know
what?
this is.
You end up getting another deal,
Yeah.
but no more Interscope. And here's the good thing. The Latin fans always stuck with you, whether the record was on Interscope or whatever. So it was easy for you to go to EMI Latin and get another few record deals.
Yes, sir.
And how did you approach that? Did you say Interscope, I'm done, and I'm going to take my music and my talents and go to Latin America and go with that label? How did that happen?
It was, I was, like I said, I was being difficult. Jimmy was upset at me. I wasn't showing up at radio. I was going out at night, staying out all night. And remember, I didn't even drink, but I would go out at night, stay out at night. And in the morning, going to, like I remember one time, and Power 106 was one of the biggest radio stations in LA. I didn't even show up. I just would not, I'd start not listening and just not caring. I was caring more about the nightlife than caring about my career. So I think they knew that too. They saw that too, and it was like I told Peter Lopez.
But
said,
all the artists did that. They got that fame bug, and they capitalize it. They enjoy it, and you're supposed to enjoy it. I don't know if you went. Yeah, I never seen you go overboard because obviously you never did drugs or drink, and I hung out with you long enough to know that. But didn't they expect that from artists?
Yes and no. I mean, they still, even if like a lot of the rock bands, they you had to do the promotion, you had to do the interviews. There was a thing. Those days, Rob. Nowadays, artists get on and you get on a Zoom call, and then you got all the outlets right there. Then you do it one time and it's over. You don't have to do it again.
Yeah.
Those days, bro, you had to go from one station to the other station to the other station. I remember going to Puerto Rico, and one day I did like 30 stations over there. It was like nuts, like going from one to the other, one to the other. And I was kind of like, I remember after doing it for the first album, and the second album, I was like, I was not feeling it. I didn't feel like going out doing it anymore. So
EMI had that happen.
So,
you just presented some product to them, and they said, "Okay, we'll sign you."
Well, the guy, his name was Jose Vejar. Jose
Right.
Vejar is the guy. I don't know if you saw the Selena movie. He's the guy that signed Selena to
Right.
EMI,
Hmm.
right? And he came in and bro, this is another one of those stories too. Like I remember him bringing me in. She had just done a um, a feature with the Barrio Boys. I don't know if you remember that. There was a
Yeah.
group called the Barrio Boys from there, and Jose was trying to tell her to do a thing with me, right? And there was a song named Maria Lisa that I had,
Hmm.
and but it ended up not happening. But she was really sweet. I remember her. She left me a message on what do we have, beepers in those days?
Yeah.
I think
Pager. Sometimes you had the ones that you could hear talking, or it's just a phone number you had to call back.
yeah, I think it was just the phone. I had to call back, but she would leave me. She left me a message there. I said, "Oh, I'm so glad that you're my label partner." Blah blah blah. And I was like, "Man, she's really sweet," you know. And then I did. I remember I got the first album done, and then I went Spanish countries. Thank the Lord, I survived. Like Mexico, Salvador, Ecuador, Chile. I mean, those were places that I could go back to and things. But I couldn't. I could not make it back in the United States. It was like they weren't having any part of me. But after that, when it was time for the second album, I remember going up to the Capitol building. That's where EMI Latin was.
Hmm.
So as I go up to the Capitol building, I come in, man, and I see people like are crying. I'm like, I said, what's going on? And they're like, Selena was shot.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I was like, what? I said, but I didn't know much, and I didn't know. I just knew that everybody, the secretaries were just crying and everything. And I stepped away, and I remember Peter Lopez explaining to me what had happened, and then of course, the news and this and that, all that happened, and it was a terrible time for them, and Jose was broken, and here I am, trying to say, hey, guys, we got to get into my album now, and I had to wait around a couple of months because it was so devastating for the whole company because that company was not that big, and those same people that work her product would have to work my product.
Hmm.
So when I came in with the new idea of this like Latin house type of album that I wanted to put out. That's when we hooked up. When I was like, man, I don't just need a producer. I need a producer DJ because
Hmm.
whatever we do now, I wanted it to be played at the clubs.
Right.
And this is before like this dance stuff. This was before a lot of the. Remember when the Latin house was really big and all that.
Hmm.
We came in at a place even before that started. It
Yeah.
was a jump into something that wasn't really happening then,
People
and
think that pit bull stuff, which is hot right now,
yeah,
you were way early on that.
yeah,
And
like we were really
thanks to
early on.
Hugo, he said, Rob's a producer. He's done this. He's done the Dino thing. He's done this Biscuit thing. He's done the Marky Mark thing. And he goes, the same Rob that hangs out with us and pops and all this, and had my studio. And he said,
Yeah,
bro, you got to do some tracks on this album.
yeah,
And
and you
there's
did.
the
And
album
you did
right there.
we ended up putting the first single was the song that you did.
Derrumbe, yeah. And we shot the video here
Yep,
at Club Rio.
yep.
Matter of fact, I got some footage of the behind the scenes of the Derrumbe somewhere
crazy.
here. Check that out. This is at Club Rio on the stage. Oh, let me just publish this. There's the cameraman. There's the camera on the jib arm. That was Frankie and Mikey.
Yep, Frankie and Mikey. Man, that zoot suit. Where did we get that zoot suit, Rob? It wasn't we.
Didn't the singer help you out with that?
No, that was in Vegas. One of your friends. I think one
Oh,
of the girls.
what's his name? With one of those dancer guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Frankie would know. So we
Yeah.
do the Derrumbe, we do the Kela Kapasaki,
That's right.
and I remember when I produced this, I did the keyboard horns, but I said we're going to use real horns. When we went to LA to mix it, we hired the real Latin horn players, pulled my horns out. They were just for reference,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
did the real Latin horns, and that studio was great. You'd always break and go get Popeyes. You loved you some Popeyes.
I still do that. I still break and go get Popeye.
OMG. So
Yeah,
that's where we really connected with doing the production together, traveling together, and then you moved to Vegas.
That's right.
And
That's
now,
right.
did your parents move here first, or did you guys come together? Or how'd that happen?
No, no, no. I was the first one that made that move. I
Hmm.
was like, and it was funny because it had to do something with my dad too. Because my dad's like, man, L.A., man, you just got to go over there, man. There's opportunities in Las Vegas, and there's shows and stuff, and you can be part of this and that. And I said, well, at that point, I was like, I had to reinvent myself again. I was
Hmm.
like, well, let's try to figure out what we go there. But, I mean, Rob, I don't have to tell you, it's time to be truthful here and there too. Also, I was pretty broke when I went over there, and I was like, man, I said, how do I make this work? Because, usually, when I had the record deals, they give me a nice advance and this and that, and I made it work throughout the year, and then I do shows here, that, but without putting out product, how would I survive? So when I got there, man, it was a thing of like, man, what am I gonna do, right? And then we started talking to people. We wanted to start a label. We got in contact with some people that wanted to put some
Help
money behind
finance.
it.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I think we had a good we had some good product. I think we had a good vision. It just I think whatever we were promised, it didn't come to fruition at the end. It was like they held back. We had the beginning of it. It looked like it was they were gonna totally come in and put the investment behind it, but it
Well, we
wasn't.
we had our strategy. We had made this whole synopsis of what we were going to do, or a proposal. What we had mapped out for the whole year or two.
Yeah,
Of who we were going to release and what order we're going to release. We based the whole record label out of my studio. So if you see, the record has my address of my studio in it, and we
yeah.
always were waiting for the money. And the guy would promise, I'm not going to name any names, but
No, no.
we had a financier who said, I'm going to give you this and I'm going to give you this. Hey, I didn't have money to do a label. You didn't have money to do a label, but we
No.
had the talent and the know-how and the studio.
Yeah.
We had all the
And
ingredients to do what we had to do, and we kept
well,
waiting
remember
for the
we
money.
had this song. We had this song. We were not even we didn't have promotion. We had this song playing in a lot of the big radio stations too.
Well,
You know.
being a DJ here, it was automatic to get it played here. You and your
Yeah.
California connection was automatic, and the Latin house stuff was huge in those markets, you
Yeah.
know?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So
And
anyway, we hustled.
yeah,
We gave it a good try. We had a strategy, but without money, ooh, that's tough.
yeah, it was, and we had a good team, man. I think we had a good team, and I remember Wedo came into the picture somehow too. I remember uh, my boy Wedo came in from out of town and try to put it together also. But man, it was just we were for me it was a stressful time because I had the I wanted to make it happen. I wanted to do this. I wanted, but my lifestyle again, man, it got in the way. I I needed to still be that dude.
Even though that was a weird time for you as far as career wise or financially wise, it was also super fun. We were going out to the club. We were still having a good time. We business in the daytime, fun at night, going
Yeah,
to dinners. Gerardo's a foodie. He loves the best restaurants in town, and he knew
yeah,
people where we'd get some comps sometimes.
yeah.
And boy, we had some good dinners and some good time dancing. And we'd go to the club. And keep in mind, we're 25, 30 years old. We go to the club and we start doing little popping circles and popping battles.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
That never stopped. That was always, man. We'd always make a good time out of anything, man. You know, that was a lot. That's such a good picture right there. That's
That
one
was
of my
going to
favorite pictures.
Splash whenever people's
Yeah.
friends would come to town, or if we just wanted to go out,
Yep.
go to Splash first and then go to a club after.
Yes, sir.
And my sister's restaurant at Mirage, Kokomo, used to love that restaurant. Call your sister. We're going to go over there and eat.
That's right.
My
That's
sister
right.
Sherry with you. So
I'm
it was a
cracking
weird
up.
time, and we were trying to hustle, but we were also having a good time.
Yeah, 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 definitely. I mean, the good time. That's where it all. I think we took advantage of all the of what life offered us back then. We you became. I mean, in Las Vegas, Rob, your name was big. DJ Frankie's name was big. Anywhere we went, any party you guys threw, people will show up, and I took advantage of that because I knew girls were gonna be there. So that was my life. I was like, all right.
But we also tried to utilize you, get you paid. We booked a bunch of shows with you, and
Oh yeah.
on the
definitely.
radio station, you'd come to because we had the mix show on Power 97 and 98.5. You'd come and talk on the mic and be a guest. So
Yeah.
it was mutual that we're helping each other out.
Yeah,
I
it was
mean,
fun. Some fun times.
We're gonna show something funny. This is that record that we did on our label, Loudmouth Records. All the ladies in the house. We shot a video. I don't know whose bright idea was to go all the way to Tijuana in this crazy ghetto club. But we went to this, and Frankie and Mikey
Revolution.
video.
Remember that? Yeah.
It was on Revolution area, but the club was called what?
I don't
Revolution?
remember.
I don't know.
I not re- something Z. Oh my gosh. I just remember that's a club that we went over there to film it because I had just done a show there like 3 weeks before, and I said, Rob, that thing was crazy packed. Let's go back over there, and that way we can get a lot of that footage for our video.
I remember we took a limo from San Diego into Tijuana with all the equipment. And I know Gerardo's been an actor since the early 90s, but I got my acting debut in the video.
Yes, sir.
We didn't even know what we were going to do. We just know we needed a club. We were going to shoot something. We were in the bus coming from Vegas to San Diego or San Diego to Tijuana, and we were like coming up with a concept. Okay, let's pretend it's a ghetto nightclub, and I'm Gerardo's manager, and I'm telling him not to perform because I walked in before the show and said, ooh, there's a lot of hoodlums there. I don't think you should do the show. And he says, don't worry. And then the video gets crazier and crazier as it goes on. I'm not going to play the whole video, but I'm going to play a little piece so you can see my acting debut. Vibe was the name of the club.
Yo, ¿qué pasó? Excuse me, hey, Rico Suave. Hey, what's up, yo? Yo, check it out. I'm with the Gerardo show, man. Here's some flyers for the after party in the bus. You can come too, no problem, man. No, hey, get out of here. Yo, G, we gotta cancel the show, man.
What are you talking about?
It's gang members in there. It's crazy. Give them back their money. Let's get out of here.
You know how much this bus cost me? I ain't giving back no money. Just go out. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it, all right? Oh, right there. Just go.
It's time to raise the roof. 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 It's time to raise.
The
That is
video,
hilarious.
I don't want to play the whole video. I don't know if we'll get flagged, but I'm nervous, biting my nails, watching you perform, and then I'm getting a little more loose. And then I get on the dance floor, and you're about 3/4 in the song, and I start mosh pitting and slapping this girl's butt, and you guys are cracking up as I'm shooting. You guys can't because you know I'm going all out. I just got some strange girl on the dance floor, and we're filming it, and I'm slapping the hell out of her. And then at the end, we're in the bus. But those are great times.
Oh, that was fun. That was fun to make. I mean, there's just some videos that you're like, but that was hilarious because remember that with the crowd, we're like, all right, guys, we're gonna film, be live, and everybody be hype, and then remember I started doing those the stage dives. I was like, God, please catch me. Remember that?
That was great.
Like,
Yeah, and they did.
Yeah,
they were like, oh, they were into it.
Yeah, it was actually the right move to go over there and film it. The Vibe Club. That's
Vibe Club in Tijuana.
Yeah.
And then we booked you to do a show at the beach.
Yeah.
With Angelina and Devaney. Energy, release me. I remember all these. God, it's crazy.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, of course. That was an awesome show.
And then we
had other
booked
people
you at a promotion
from the
me and Frankie
label.
did called Liquid New Year's Eve, 1998. Crazy. So now I met you in 91 officially. So it's our 30-year anniversary this year of knowing each other, just so you know.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That's 30 years. Where's my present, Rob?
It's right here. I'm talking to you. I'm putting you on the show. So all all that happens. The record label, we have to squash that. Didn't get the finances. We had the product. We had the knowledge, and we had it all planned out. Fell through, but we kept hustling. And then you go back to Interscope, but not as an artist, as an executive.
Yeah.
Did you just go reach out to them, say, hey, nothing's working out over here, but I know the music business. Maybe I should get in another kind of role,
It was like this. I'm gonna be like super duper honest. Like I was
Okay.
broke, and I had my wife over there, and my ego always kept me from speaking to Ted Fields and Jimmy. I was their first artist, and
Mm-hmm.
they always said, you started us out, blah blah blah. They always give me credit for that. And I came to a point where I remember writing Ted a letter, and that letter I said, "Yo, man, I just want to tell you, I couldn't do it. I try to make it out in the business and put it in your face and let you guys see that you guys messed up, but I couldn't do it, man. And but I want you to consider something. You guys always said that, I was the guy who started the label out, man. I said I can do more than that. I said what you guys did with me, I want to be able to do it for other people. So I sent that letter out, and it got to Ted. And then Jimmy next week flew me over there to sit down with him, bro. It was like this. I sat down. They said we need to get you a job. What you want to do? It was like that. I was like, I said, I want to try to do what he goes. Well, in the meantime, as you're being an A&R, can you do? We want to do like a. At that moment, they were trying to open up a dance part of it, like the remix stuff. Interscope didn't do remixes for nobody. So that's when I said, yeah, I said, I'll do it. And I started doing the remixes for everybody, like, from, my gosh, from No Doubt to Enrique Iglesias to oh, well, Enrique comes later. But, like that was 1999, I think. Yeah, 1999. I went to LA, and I moved back, and I left Vegas. And when I got to LA, started working there. And in 6 months, I brought Enrique in. So
Now, how did you
Enrique,
do that? Did you know
huh?
him personally, and you said, hey, I can?
No, it was we met. I was in Miami for the Winter Music Conference with where all the DJs went, and because that's where you hear all the new music coming up. And
Mhm.
a friend of mine, I think you met him, my friend Raymond, Puerto Rican guy,
I
told me, let's
remember
go to a
Raymond.
club. I'm gonna, yeah, I'm gonna invite my friend Enrique. I said, Enrique who? I said, he's like Enrique Glass. But right back then, Enrique was very known in the Latin market, but not in the American market, right? He was signed to a label called Fonovisa. So we went to a club, and we started hanging out. We started cracking up, and he started telling me to to like do remixes for his Spanish songs, and I was like, okay, I'll get the guy, and I started helping with that, and then we started talking about the English stuff, and he was like, I've done music in English. He goes, I just have to wait. I said, why? He goes, because I'm I'm
Contract.
still contract under Fonovisa, but it was about to be over.
Mhm.
So they started talking to me. So I started, talking to Jimmy already. But at that moment, Jimmy was like, "What? Julio Iglesias' son?" He was, "This doesn't work here," because back then it was like you had at Interscope, it was Primus, and
They were
you
getting
had
into the grunge stuff and the
yeah,
alternative
it was the
stuff.
grunge time. It wasn't the gangster stuff yet.
Mm-mm.
It was grunge time over there. So Enrique didn't make sense, even though at that moment they had just, I think they had, no, that was later. Sorry, I mix up. That was when I was there. Anyway, so I bring Enrique over there, and I bring them the record, and he was just not into it. And then Ricky Martin blows up like 3 months later with "Living La Vida Loca,"
Mhm.
and then I get a call from Jimmy and from my boss now, who's Steve Stout, and Steve's like, "Yo, you still talk to Enrique?" I said, "All the time." And he
Mhm.
goes, "Man, can we, let's meet, whatever." So sure enough, we started meeting, but by then, the the deal was a lot higher. I had brought him in. We could have closed it for probably back then for like 5-7 million, and Enrique ended up costing like 35 million.
That's what they get, because they had that opportunity the first time, and then
Yeah.
they see another Latin artist that can cross over, and they see digits, and they say, "Oh,
They
let's
saw the
do this
potential
now."
at that moment. Yeah, and
So it
sure
goes.
enough, man, you know, we brought him in, and I remember at that moment, Clive Davis was trying to sign him. So
Mm.
Clive would fly to Miami and be like, you know, and meet with Enrique, and then Jimmy Ivy would find out and go, Gerardo, Clive went over there, you know, take the private jet, and I'd get on the private jet from Universal going to Miami to you know to get there and convince Enrique, and you know we had to do a lot of convincing, but you know, sure enough, one day he just told me after, in the middle of that, he goes, "We're gonna do it, man. You know, tell Jimmy." And I told Jimmy, I said, "It's done." He's like, "But the paperwork's not done." I said, "It's done." And sure enough, man, you know, that was the
The
first
album
artist I
does
saw.
great. The single does
Yeah,
great. And you
yeah,
look great because you got to convince him to go over there and look good for you.
yeah,
And then you also brought in Bubba Sparks,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Bubba was in the midst of in that year. Bubba Sparks comes out and he blows up with you know
What was it?
Timbaland
Miss
produces
New
his
Booty
album.
or something? What
At
was the name
first,
of
it
that
was
song?
"It's Getting Ugly." Remember that?
Ugly, ugly. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, "Ugly" was his first album, and well, the album was called "Dark Days and Bright Nights."
Mm.
But at the same time, when that album came out, that's when Hero came out. You know, remember when the 9/11 happened and
Mm-hmm.
Enrique put out Hero, and Hero was huge. I had Enrique number one and Bubba Sparks, I think, at like number three.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it was like 19. Let me see. Wait, 2000, 2001. I think 2001 was like that year where I was like, I couldn't do no wrong, man. I had you know just scored with Enrique Iglesias again on the second album, and you know Bubba Sparks was blowing up. So
And you
it
did
was
me a
beautiful.
solid because you
Yes,
were working
sir.
with
There you go.
Enrique, and it's time for remixes, and you were calling all the big wigs. You had Thunderpuss on it. You had, I mean, I had to go grab the record. I don't remember it, but you guys did that 4 LP double-sided
Yeah.
remix set for Escape,
Yeah.
and I
Yes, sir.
did like Ta Cabron for you, and of course the
Yeah.
Derumbe, the house style stuff. And you said, Rob, I want you to do one of those style remixes.
Yeah.
Sent me
Yes,
the
sir.
multi tracks, and I did a remix, and then that whole CD or that whole album compilation remixes actually got nominated for best remixes because there was
Yes,
like
sir.
8 remixes on those 4 records.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
What was that? The other guy, David something, was huge back then. Oh gosh.
y'all, you guys got all the big wigs for this
Yeah.
remix
Yeah.
set,
Yep.
and I was lucky to have my name on the same one as all those because it was like a huge remix. You guys spent a lot of money, and you got every big guy to do it. And I did one side of one of the records, and you know that helped the motivation of the album. Anytime a remix can support the record more for the clubs, it's great. And you guys, you sent me this plaque. This is hanging on my wall. I took a picture of it, but you sent me this plaque to commemorate. Shoot, it sold 800,000 or 8 million or whatever it is. 8 million.
8 million.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I can't move it, but I have the same one, except I got to give you an updated one because it's at 10 million now.
Oh, see?
It's actually a diamond record.
Oh, you got to send me that.
Yeah, I do. I just don't want to move the whole thing, but it's right there on my wall to my right.
All right, so
Yeah, that
I
was an
appreciate
awesome-
you for doing that, looking out for your homies as usual. And then, guess what, guys? He goes to VH1 with the reality show. Let's talk about how that happened. And I know you guys exposed a lot on that show. My wife
Oh my
loved
God.
that show.
Yeah.
She's actually
Yeah,
follows you. She want me to say hi to you, and that she follows you on Instagram, and you'll find
really?
You say, yeah, your last name. You'll see her last name is my last name, so you should give her a shout out.
Oh, definitely, bro. I didn't know that.
How
Yeah,
that happened?
This, bro, right before this, and this is a bad time in my life. Like me and my wife are about to call it quits. I was ready to bounce. But right before this, we did. God, what was that show? Where you trade. where you
Wife
trade-
swap.
Wife swap. We did wife swap, right? So and we did the show, and it got like the second biggest rating for one of the wife swaps. It got
Was
second.
that VH1 as well? That show?
No, that
That was
was
a different network.
That was NBC.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. And I remember I told my wife, I said, "Look, you take half of this half because they paid us real well." And they saw it, and the people there, like, I started getting calls. Man, you should do your TV show. You should do this. You should do your own blah blah blah. And we went with the small company, smaller company, but they were doing. They knew about working with a Latin family, and their name is called the company name is called Blank Page. They have been doing the oh my god, Rivera, the Riveras, the family of Riveras. They had done, they were working with them, Jenny Rivera, and then remember Jenny Rivera, her plane fell, and tragically they all know that she died in it. So they were devastated in the meantime, and we knew that they had worked with other people before. We started talking, and we said, the guy goes like, "Look, let's do this pilot and see, let's see what happens." And he filmed the pilot of our, and this is while, I mean, Rob, this is in the middle of me about to leave the house. Like, I'm not putting up with this. I'm out. And brother, that show was like, it was like, you hear about
Blessing in disguise kind of thing.
yeah, it was like, what I'm trying to say is like every other family that you've seen, like the Hulk Hogan's and these other shows. Every time that they did a reality show, people ended up getting divorced. It was the opposite for
Opposite.
us. Yeah, yeah, and it worked out for us, man. And out of that whole thing, we were forced to be together again, and that's when I was like, I said, I got to make this work. I can't leave this, what I've had, what God gave me, what I had for so long. And that's when I decided to move over here to Kentucky, where I'm at now. Because right after that, I was like, man, I said, I can't, there's got to be less of, I mean, if you know one thing, Rob, is in this business, you got to sacrifice. And most of the time, I sacrificed my family, my wife, my kids. It was about, me getting, going up in rank always. If it wasn't, back when I was an actor, I wanted to do it. Back when I was a rapper, I wanted to be that. I wanted to keep on going. Back when I was an executive, I want to be and it's always like that. So when I came over here, I was like, maybe it's best for me to leave Los Angeles, and it's probably been the best decision I made in my life.
So do you think
So
the show exposed you guys, and you guys actually had to talk about things that you probably never would have talked about
that's
because
right.
you're doing
That's
your
right.
thing, you're self-contained, you're doing your thing, she's doing her thing, and you're never going to bring up the problems that are underlying in your relationship
That's right.
or what's going on. But the camera's there, and you guys are actually addressing things on the show and bringing up
Yeah.
things you probably would have never brought up. So like
Yeah.
you said, the other families split them apart because they opened up
Yeah.
a can of worms where you guys already had a can of worms. So
Oh,
you were opening it up and
yeah,
addressing it.
that's right. It was
That's
about taking
crazy.
it out and talking about it. Uh, all I can tell you is like, it was a blessing, like you said, a blessing in disguise. And I owe a lot of it to the guy that brought us together. That same guy, that owns the production company Black Page. Man, that dude, he brought us together and made us work together. And when you're together like you're supposed to be, man, you're like, man, what the heck am I doing? Why don't I want this all the time? So that was it, man. I made that step of faith. After that, I left everything behind, moved over here, and give it a shot at life over here. And God's been good, bro.
And I thought I knew you well, and I do know you well from 30-something years, and we've had our moments of despair. We had our moments of fun, and you used to tell me about your things, and I witnessed some things firsthand.
Yeah. What's
But
that?
I went back doing some research on you, and I got to watch that Rise.
Yeah.
The full title is Rise, the Rico Suave story, and it's on YouTube. Now, you guys, if you have a moment, we're talking about some of it now, but Gerardo opens up like I've never seen him open up. And, as an artist, you have to have an ego. And he had an ego, and it got him into trouble back in the days. And even now, today, whatever he's doing, there's still this subliminal ego you have to have to
Yeah.
be in front of people and entertain and be in the spotlight, whatever. But he swallows his ego on that show, and he talks about everything in deep. We're talking about it now, but in deep and in detail, where I think maybe some tears showed up on some of your shots of that show. But
Oh, yeah.
that that inspired me, and I called you after I saw that. I said, that's real Gerardo. That's real talk. That's the first time I seen you open up that much, and I just want to give you a shout out to that. Was dope. I
Thank
love
you,
that.
bro.
Yeah,
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I'm proud of you
Yeah,
for doing that.
a lot of times you carry a lot, man, and you know that you can probably be with your story. Sometimes you can be, a moment of inspiration for others. And I just thought that, and I, even when I, I'm a pastor now, and even when I preach, I use a lot of, like, if I go through pain, or I want people to relate, and I don't just want to go out there and give you a couple of Bible verses and give a study. I really go deep in on because I know that the same things that I battle, or I've battled, people go through the same things. So I want to be that answer to people that you can make it. You can actually, out of all the mess that you've made, the mess can become a blessing. So that's where I'm at now. That's House of Grace, where I preach. And it's been like, I couldn't ask for anything better, man. If you ask me right now, like, there's people that always come to me and go like, "Yo, man, I wish I would have known, yeah, your best time, man. Your best moment." I'm like, "Bro, you do." I said, "This is actually my best moment.
That's awesome.
This is the
Because
best
I
part
got
of my
all the
life."
old school homies, and they'll say, "Hey, where's blah blah blah? And where's Dino? And where's Gerardo?" And I say, Gerardo is a pastor now in Kentucky, and they go, "Get the out of here, bro! What are you? And that you got to send them a link or something."
That
But
is
you talk about a
hilarious.
180. You
Yeah,
talk about a
yeah,
pivot,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I
my
could
bro.
see that you enjoy it, and you're probably
I love it.
the favorite over there at the church,
Yeah, my
because you
brother.
got a few pastors over there, right?
Yeah, I do. I'm blessed enough to be able to still travel. I got actually four pastors that are with me, that I can because I'm still, Rob, the music thing is hard to let go. So I'm still working in the business, and sometimes I got to travel, but I got backup.
So we got two more subjects we're going to talk about, but since you talked about the pastor, I wanted to show that footage. But you still got your feet in the music business, and you've been working, like you said, with Steve Stout still on this
Yeah.
United Masters. It's a
Yes.
digital distribution company. And what is that? What is exactly you're doing, and what are they doing as a company?
Well, there's a motto that they have called the future's independence for musicians. To be independent, not to be under a label, to own your own masters. What we do is that we're a digital distributor that invests in people that we think got talent, right? A lot of times, like, there's ways of people nowadays. All they do is, like, they look at numbers, they look at your Instagram numbers, they look at this, they look at your TikTok numbers, they see that you're growing something, and people, they jump on it, and a lot of times those artists don't really have much talent behind them. We are that company right now that is helping artists do that without giving away, without having them give away their masters. I mean, imagine, Rob, if I would have owned all my masters, where I could be at right now. As
Right.
many times as Rico Suave has been used in movies and this and that, man, I would be, banking, but I don't, because I don't own my masters. So nowadays, my whole thing is to try to school artists that, you might not need a big push. If you already have some type of numbers, or some type of base, or some types of fan base, you just need somebody to partner up with you for a couple of songs, and that's it. And after that, send you on your way. If you want to keep, being an independent, stay on. Look, I'm telling you, right now, like a lot of the huge artists, little by little, you're going to see everybody's going to be leaving labels, because they already got they don't need, they already got the outlets. They have their Instagrams, they have their TikToks, they have their, their Twitters and stuff like that. They have millions already that follow them. So there's no need for somebody to take 70% of your money. So that's where we stand right
So is
now.
it is
And,
it is it consulting along with management, or?
no, it's becoming like a strategic partner in your rise as an artist. Like, we can do, labels will be like, "Oh, well, we need a 5 album deal, blah blah." I said, we don't need a 5 album deal. Let's
That's crazy.
let's do an album. Let's see how it goes.
Mhm.
Let's, we'll put up this money. You do this, but at the same time, the reason why they brought me to that company too is because they want to get into the Latin business. So
Okay.
that's been my forte for a while.
There you go. My wife is on the chat right now. She says hi. So I don't know if you can
Tell
see
her
that.
hello. Hey, hi, Carla.
Okay, guess what, you guys? This dude pivots. He's a pastor. And now guess what he's done? He's still got his feet in the music business. And then he says, you know what? I want to start some coffee. Now, this is crazy. Talk about this. Rico Suave Coffee.
Yeah.
And it's real deal.
Yeah. Oh, man. Wait till you try it, Rob. I'll send you some
Well, I
coffee.
thought you were going to send me some, but you never did.
I am. I promise. I'm going to send you a couple of bags so you can taste it yourself, because it is no joke. The guy, my partner, happens to be from a family that's been doing coffee for 50 years in Ecuador. And we're probably the only, well, there's two in the world that own land in the Galapagos Islands. There's the next coffee coming out of Rico Suave is going to be Galapagos Coffee from the islands over there, like super rare. But this was something that happened like almost 3 years ago. I was in Qatar, and I was over there and for some business, and I met this guy over there that was Ecuadorian, that was selling coffee to the Arabs over there. So I was like, bro, I said, so what coffee? What's the name of your brand? And he's like, I don't have a brand. I just sell it. I sell the beans, and they can do whatever. I sell to Starbucks. It becomes Starbucks coffee. I don't care what. I just sell them the. What I do is I grow coffee, and I have tons of acres and this and that. I was like, well, let's talk. So we started talking, and I went to Ecuador and went to his facilities. This beautiful, factories of where they make the coffee, they toast it and everything. And we started going back and forth until I got that Rico Suave taste. Like I said, the coffee can be a little acidy. It can be this. I said, no, I want it to be like just what the word says, rich and smooth. And
now,
the brand,
I know the secret. I figured out your secret to why your coffee tastes good. This is what he does, you guys. He takes his old Rico Suave bandana and he strains the coffee in there. So you're getting some of that old Rico Suave sweat from late 90s and early 90s in there. No, but I've seen some reviews on it, and everybody says it's dope, and I want you to send me some. But where do people get it in America? They go on Amazon, or how do they get it?
Yeah, you can get it on Amazon now. Before 3 weeks ago, we are just ricosuave.com, and it took a little bit. My problem was, again, Rob, because I let stuff go back in the day. I didn't even own my own trademark. I had to go and trademark everything and get all those lawyers to take out some other people that were using the name. And now
that's interesting. That you had to buy Rico Suave, the two words.
Bro, I had to buy ricosuave.com too, Rob. It's like, I had to buy all my stuff back, but I got it. So now, as far as like coffee, merchandising, restaurants, everything that's Rico Suave, you can't.
Let's check out
Cuando recién llegué a este país no éramos muchos, ahora somos más de 2 millones aquí. Cuando salió Rico Suave, todo el mundo se preguntaba, ¿de dónde es Gerardo? ¿Es cubano? ¿Es colombiano? Y yo tenía que aclarar, yo soy ecuatoriano, igual que mi café. Rico Suave Coffee es 100% ecuatoriano. Suave.
There it is. That's awesome.
Yeah, my brother. It's been good, man. It's been a good ride.
We covered a lot of stuff. And that's the message that we've been trying to tell people. We're not young no more. We're not the young music entrepreneurs, and we pivot and we reinvent, and you're a great example of that. And I wanted to thank you. I know you're busy. I know you got a wedding rehearsal you did right before you got on the live stream with me, and you're marrying a couple tomorrow, and you got church tomorrow. But you made a good hour and 15 minutes for me, so I want to thank you for coming out. And our boy Frankie just left a comment. Let me.
Did he? What did he say?
There you go.
Great interview, great show. You're out there. That's my dude. That's my dude. I love Frankie.
Yes, sir. So yeah, once again, thanks for coming here and being on live with me. I know you're busy. Any last words?
No, man. I'm glad that we can still go back and see our lives back in the day. I also congratulate you too. You're a married man now. Life is
took me 50 years. Took me 50
Yes,
years to
sir.
figure that out.
But you can say life is better now.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
you can share it. You can share it, man. That, we, us that are in this industry, it can be a really selfish me industry, but when you learn to share it with people, man, that's everything. So, congrats.
Thank you, sir. And you're going to be in town in October. You better hit me up.
Yes, sir. Oh yeah, for the Enrique concert. I'm
I'll go
coming.
to the show, and then when
Let's
I
go.
see you, I don't want a handshake. I don't want a hug. I want 10 bags of coffee.
I thought you could say I want to kiss. I was like, not anymore.
No,
Rod.
I'll rather. I've kissed you before. It's not all that. Hey, all right. Thanks again, G Money, Pastor G, Gerardo, Rico Suave, whatever you want to call him. He's a great man. He's had a crazy life, a lot of pivots, a lot of twists and turns. He's alive. He's doing great in Ashland, Kentucky, with his family. Shout out, great family. I remember when the kids were little, when we were doing the album.
Oh yeah.
Just doing little cartoons and on the refrigerator and said, Robbie, what do you think of this? And that was dope.
Yeah. And they're all coming out with music now too, Rod. Get ready.
know.
You're gonna have to,
That's a whole other stuff. We might have to do a part 2 with your son.
Yeah. With my
I
boy
seen your daughter.
and my daughter. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
it's
part
crazy.
2.
Yep.
They're
Yes,
carrying
sir.
on the legacy. All right. Once again, thanks you guys for tuning in. Thanks, Gerardo, for joining me tonight. And guess what? Next week, we do it again with another Vegas legend. Now, Gerardo had his feet in Vegas for a few years, so we consider him a vegan, a Las Vegan. But next week, we have Dino.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Dino, Summer Girls. I like it. He worked with us on the radio station. Our first record we ever did, DEF CON in 1986. Dino was a keyboard player and part of the group. So I'm going to be chatting with him. He's got a great story. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks, G Money. We'll see you on the next one.
Yes, sir. God bless.